The United Nations recently reported the results of a survey showing nearly 1 in 4 men in the Asia-Pacific region have acknowledged raping a woman. Let's talk more about this and how Latin America compares with Gigi Scoles. She's Director of Human Rights at the nonprofit organization Vital Voices. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, when it comes to Latin America, is there something unique here? Is there something that we don't see in other regions around the world?
Unfortunately, there isn't really anything particularly unique about it. This type of intimate partner violence is something that we see happening all around the world. Here in the United States, there was a particularly bad week for women at the hands of their intimate partners this past week. There was a piece on Jezebel the other day that just went through and listed, and you see that this is something that's not just happening in Latin America. It's something that's happening in the United States. It's happening in Asia. It's everywhere. And at Vital Voices, we've worked with victim service organizations all around the world, holding a convening of many of them in Latin America and a similar convening in the Middle East, North Africa region. And we found that the problems being faced are the same throughout. There's so many common threads to what women are facing all around the world. It really is a global pandemic.
You know, we've also seen a lot of violence against women in cases where there's gang rapes, that case in Brazil. With individual countries and their attitudes toward women in general, do you think there has been some improvement globally in terms of prosecuting these type of crimes? Is it getting better or is it getting worse?
I think we're seeing an increase in awareness and certainly in government efforts. We're seeing that more and more countries are starting to take a bit more of a multidisciplinary and collaborative approach. And we're seeing that really what is needed is for service providers and government actors, law enforcement, even the medical community, to all really come together and work on this problem together, creating an environment where victims are comfortable coming forward, where they don't fear stigmatization in their own communities, in the courthouse. And I think that that's creating a better atmosphere for victims to cooperate with prosecution and prosecution of offenders to happen.
And you know, as we've seen there in Argentina in Joel Richard's piece, there have been protests, there have been these social media campaigns talking about awareness. Outside of Latin America, let's turn to India and that rape case from 2012 that drew so much condemnation and outrage in India, that gang rape of that woman on the bus where she ended up dying. Has there been enough media coverage of what's going on in parts of Latin America?
It's hard to sort of paint with a broad brush when you're talking about Latin America. I think certain countries have done amazing jobs of outreach and highlighting this issue. And certainly I've met with many women leaders throughout Latin America in different countries that are complaining of the problem of femicide that they're seeing there in their courtrooms, on the streets, just in their newspapers. I do think that the level of awareness is increasing, and I think that in this age of social media, things sort of spread a little bit more easily and stories have a chance to be shared in new ways. So I do think that there is some improvement in terms of level of awareness around these issues.
All right, Gigi Scoles, Vital Voices, thank you so much for your perspective. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, CCTV-America.com.